Hey gaming crew, Excalibur here with another unboxing. This time it is for an RPG. It is called Tiny Wastelands. It is an RPG by Alan Bear. Why don't we see what this is about? So, disclaimer first, I did not receive this as a gift. I backed it with my own funds. This video was not reviewed before it was uploaded, and all the opinions and views on this product are mine and mine alone. Tiny Wastelands is a post-apocalyptic game. It's a tiny D6. It's in the same vein as fantasy and sci-fi, which I've covered before. This time it's post-apocalyptic. This is my favorite genre. I really, really love this genre. From Mad Max to Rock and Rule to Thundar the Barbarian. There's a whole bunch of it out there, and I really, really enjoy it. Now, this is a D6 based system, and I'll go ahead and read this to you on the back here. Tiny D6 gets apocalyptic. The versatile and minimalist Tiny D6 rule set hits the road in this post-apocalyptic sourcebook, containing new rules for settlements, vehicles, and mutations. Tiny Wastelands is your trusty companion and the blasted landscapes of the near future. Tiny Wastelands is a complete rulebook, but to fully utilize the scope of the game, a deck of Enclave cards is required. Yep, we need a deck of Enclave cards. There might be something in here. I have to take a look. But you can see, here we go, credits Alan Bear, it was written by, and all the editors and stuff like that. And all that stuff. But the pages, they're standard, nice, smooth, glossy page. You've got a nice big table of contents here, which has information for how to play, making a survivor, your character, and then the game master, and then micro settings. That's the big thing about this series of RPGs is micro setting stuff that's added to each of them. It's pretty much a writer writes a 1 or 2 page-ish kind of setting that you can use for inspiration or ideas or for an entire campaign if you want to go that way. And this one has them in spades. So here we go. Here's the introduction, getting started, standard preamble for RPGs, and standard how to play with tests and obstacles and how to get over them, and combat here. We get right into it. Combat's right away. And we'll get past all these, and then there's optional rule. There's zones, which are in here. Here we go. We talk about hit points and sleeping, death and hiding and sneaking, and so on. Just like your standard rules, optional rules, character growth. You don't have to get levels or anything like this. It could be a one-shot. And then here we are. We're making a survivor. Now, let's go here. There are different archetypes. And here we go. We'll go through them really quick. I'm not going to tell you what they all do, but we can go ahead and just read what they are. So we've got normals and their attributes. They get 6 hit dice. Humans select an additional trait from the trait list. Then we have mutant attributes. We have 8 hit points. Mutants start with the archetype trait mutation. And mutation, you can select up to 3 mutation traits instead of 1. Now, this game, you have traits that are associated with your archetypes. We have scavenger attributes. There's 7 hit points. Scavengers start with the digger archetype trait. Digger, you gain advantage on scavenge tests. Survivor attributes, 6 hit points. Survivors start with the archetype trait always prepared. And always prepared, you know how to survive. You gain advantage on tests to find shelter or aid, not supplies or scavenging, though. We have the Wanderer, which is 6 hit points. Wanderers start with the archetype trait unattached. Anytime anyone tries to persuade you, intimidate you, or threaten you, they have disadvantage. And then we have Crazy. 6 hit points. Crazies start with the insane archetype trait. You're insane. Whenever you would take a risk that would make anyone else pause, you get advantage on that test. That is pretty cool. And it's the test. We have the Fixer, mechanic type. So 6 hit points. Fixers start with the mechanic archetype. Once per day, you can test with disadvantage to add 1 usage rating to a scavenged item. Then we have a Tyrant. Tyrant attribute, 6 hit points. Tyrants start with the commanding archetype trait. When you When you're attacked, you can impose your will on your foe. Roll 1d6. If successful, the attack misses. You cannot use the ability if you evade. Then here are all the traits. So you get things such as Ambush Specialist, Armor Master, Bar Fighter, Dark Fighter, Defender, Die Hard. They're sort of like feats from D&D. But these are more core mechanics than the D&D feats. They have more to do with your character than feats do, because you can play D&D without feats, at least the 5th edition. Then we have the mutation trait list, which has a bunch of mutations and psionic disciplines and telepathy, biomancy, stuff like that. Then we have weapons and equipment and so on and so forth. And then we go to the Games Master stuff, which I'll just go through there really quick through here. We're talking about running adventures, enemies chart, enemies, scavenging items, vehicles, enclaves, and optional rules. And then here are all the micro settings. There are a lot. And I'll show you an example micro setting. So here we go. Oh, it's a couple of pages actually. So there's Broken Star by Darren W. Pierce. And they talk that's a hostile environment. Life finds a way. The good, thousands of years of evolution have spawned not only monsters, but the descendants of those who escaped the Calico's destruction and so forth. And then it goes through some areas and locations, and then it tells you about the bad, which has your bandits and monsters and bad areas. And then, of course, the ugly, which goes on to talk about specifics, like Savior Joe, and Changeville, the Badlands. And that's it for that one. That's the main book, Tiny Wastelands. And let's see what else I got with my pledge. I pledged for the DM package. So it comes with this wonderful DM screen. There's the back. And then it's got another comic right there. And then inside you have Enclave management, the reaping phase, enemies, and stuff like that. So you get all, standard useful stuff that a DM screen would have. Let's see here. What else do we have in here? We've got this, which feels kind of heavy. Oh, yep, it is the dice. So here are the dice. We've got some custom dice, and then, well, they're both custom dice. But like other tiny D6 games, we have specific post-apocalyptic dice. And that's the 6, that's the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 2. Just like standard dice, there are 3 of them that come with the game. And then we have these custom dice right here. I forget what these are used for, but I think they are just special dice that are the same as that. They feel like bone. So let's see if I can hold that up and have it focus. So you get skulls. Okay. If you look down in the lower right of the face, you'll see that there's a cross mark. So that's side 5. That's side 1. That's side 6. And then we'll see, whoop, that's side 5. And then side 2, side 4, and side 3. And there are 3 of these as well. They feel really good in the hand, nice and chunky. A little difficult to read because I didn't notice the strikes down in the lower right corner of the face. But now that I know where to look. Alright. Oh, and there's one more thing in here. It's this. It sounds like cards, which I believe this is the Enclave deck. Oh, it comes in a wonderful plastic container. Now that is awesome. I was not expecting this. And Mike's Magic Tape to hold them all together. Is that Mike's Magic Tape? No, it's just a plastic band. So let's go ahead and get that off. So here are the cards. And they're okay. They're not like 300. They've got a good bend and flex to them. They're kind of thin. They're smooth. And they're all black and white except for the backs. The backs are this wonderful flag with a nuclear explosion. And you get things like the traitor, spoilage, religious fervor, prosperity. So we're looking at the different things that can happen in the game. Disease, criminal justice, and bar fight season, an uneventful year, and then finally, a tyrant emerges. Someone has arrived, throwing Enclave politics into disarray. How do your survivors deal with it? And what is the fallout of that? So there we go. Those are a bunch of cards. And on the right-hand side, as you can see here, they actually have the same thing down the side. And that's copyright and symbols and everything. In case you have multiple decks come up in the future, I guess. So that was Tiny Wastelands, a minimalist post-apocalyptic RPG. And of course, it's a D6 base, as evidenced by all the D6s. These are really nice. They are small. They're easy to flip through. Nice big text to read. I have yet to play it. We've got to get a group together and play the game. But I'm really looking forward to either playing or running this. I'm probably going to end up running it because I'm the only one who has a copy in the area. And we'll have to see exactly how this turns out. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you really like the video and you want to see more of this kind of content, please subscribe. As always, this is Excalibur, and I am out.